Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Cultural Confederacy here. It's Thursday, pipe and coffee in hand. Enjoy my this and that blend. Getting into my element is I'm going to walk you through what it's like to work on a piece of music in real time. And the reason I'm doing this is because since the George Floyd incident, and even before that, people have been saying that we need to take down the Confederate battle flag, that music is based on white supremacy, starting a business is based on white supremacy. And I want to show you in this video that that's not the case. Writing music is a long, laborious process. And you're going to see that play out here in just a moment. Let me put my pipe down real quick. I'm going to show you part of the score I've been working on here. This is the finale to my symphony. It's called a Southern Symphony. It's divided into 5 movements. The first is Daybreak. The second, The Waves at Noon. The third, At Dusk. The fourth, At Night Along the Inland Shore. But I'm still trying to work on that movement. I don't know how quite to end it. And I think I may have jumped the gun a bit. But I'm currently working on the finale, and the finale is Midday Celebration. So this is page 88 and 89. Let's see how the score is laid out. This is all done by hand, by the way. So this is written for 2 each of the following instruments: tenor recorder, B-flat clarinet, E-flat alto sax, bassoon, 2 French horn, 2 trombone, 2 timpani, and 3 each of the strings: violin, viola, and cello. I'm not comfortable writing for double bass, and my whole premise here is to write music that's easy to perform for instruments that are easy to carry around, so you're not lugging around a double bass or a tuba, one of these more cumbersome instruments that you have to carry around. So what I'll do is play some of this for you so you get a taste of what I'm working on here. And you might notice that I'm going through these phrases time and time again. That's part of the process. And there's no edits in this video. So what you see is what you get here. Once again, a real-time video, what it's like to work on a piece of music. I'm going to start out with a scale, because all composers or musicians start out with scales or arpeggios to get warmed up. And this is C minor. I'm going to do 3 versions of C minor: the regular C minor scale, C harmonic minor, and C melodic minor. So this is C minor. But actually the chord in C minor, the C minor 1 chord, is C, E flat, G, B flat. But I like having that C on top. Gives it that nice stately sound, grabs your attention. So that's the regular C minor scale. And here is the C harmonic minor. And that always trips me up because it's an awkward movement in C harmonic minor, because you're going from A flat to B natural to C. Gives it that Middle Eastern flavor. Pardon me if I miss a note here or there. Now the C melodic minor, where the 6th and 7th are raised. So the 7th note in the harmonic minor, that is raised. So B flat becomes B natural. But in C melodic minor, A flat and B flat become A natural, B natural. So let me play those 3 without talking here, so you can hear the difference between them. That's just one scale. So you can imagine what composers and musicians go through when they've got to do each of these scales and do the regular scale, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. Now you don't have to worry about that in a major key. So we'll do C major. So the reason I'm playing that is because it's actually C, E, G, B. But I like doing, again, that stately sound of C, E, G, C. And you can see how this all blends in the piece I'm working on. So I might struggle a little bit here. I'm working in a cramped space. This is my Casio I bought about, I think when I moved here about 10 years ago. That's when I bought this. But it's been good to me. It's a good little Casio, and it does the job. And as you can tell, I've got my Bonnie Blue flag in front of me, my American flag, my Confederate battle flag. And just imagine, because they were doing this to Shostakovich in Russia, just imagine if you never had the chance to hear a piece of music like this. I'm not the greatest composer. In fact, I decided to call this video not Beethoven's Fifth. And that's because there's an old joke, I'm going to write an opera before breakfast. Well, most composers don't write an entire opera before breakfast. It's, as I said, a long, laborious process. So let me do a couple of scales here, and then I'll get right into the piece of music without talking. Might pause the video for a moment as I go and fill up my pipe here. It was a little fast on that. Let me try it again. That's B flat major. E flat major. A minor. Once again, working in a cramped space here. Okay, so just a couple of scales. Let's get into, for the sake of time, let's get into the actual piece itself. Light my pipe again. Now this is the main theme of the final movement here of this symphony. And then the main theme of the first movement is this. Or one of the motifs, as we call it, in the first movement. So that all comes together in this final movement. It's supposed to be a cacophony of sound, so to speak, where you have this midday celebration. People are dancing and they're having parades along the shore, and it's a beautiful day, a new day after spending the night along the inland shore. So it kind of walks you through a travelogue, if you will, of a day living down south or living down by the river. And I happen to live about 5-10 minutes away from the river. So this is the section that I'm working on, and I love this. This sounds really cool. So I'm just going to start, I think this is on page 87. Let me go to page 87 here. But actually, this happens when you're working on a piece of music. You know the piece, but you tend to skip sections if you're not looking at the score. It's really a fight between what you remember and what you've actually written down. So let me try this again, going from page 87 to page 91. I'm just going to take my time with this. And you'll see how I'm getting back into this piece. It's like looking inside a machine. That's not quite right. Let me try this again. There we go. It's supposed to be G and B flat. Looking at the score and trying to do this at the same time. Doing this as I got the camera rolling, it's a little bit different. Let me straighten this out a little bit. You get a better stand here for the keyboard. Got to watch my my notes here. Yeah, I have to admit, I have a weak left hand when I'm doing this. And again, when you're working in a cramped space, pardon me, it's not as easy to do here. A lot easier for some reason when I don't have the camera on doing this. So let me try that part again. Doesn't sound right, but let's try it again. That's what I'm looking for. So now you get an idea of how everything comes together with all the mistakes, everything I'm doing in this video. Now let's get to the process of actually writing out the notes. So I'm going to work on the next measure here, the last measure of page 91. We go back over this phrase again. And that is a chord of G, C, E flat. So you have bassoon. The way I've done this is really cool. It's very simple too. Bassoon, violin, and cello. So 2 bassoon, 3 violin, pardon me, 3 viola. So it's 3 violin, 3 viola, then 2 bassoon. Put it against each other, and this is the chord here, chord progression. Oh, I like that. Yeah, okay, we should go, that's what we should do. Try it again. Okay, so go to page 91 here. I'm going to copy what's off of one of the measures here. Kind of move this out of the way. And I know it looks rough in here, so I'm going to shut the piano off so I don't hit any wrong notes here or have you hear some type of screeching upper note here in the strings on my keyboard. So this is what happens when you're working on a piece of music. We're going to stick with bassoon, violin, and viola. So actually I'm going to say this as I'm writing it out so you'll see what I'm doing here. So the bassoon is going to play G, and that G is actually going to be the G in the lower register, not all the way down at the bottom of the keyboard here, but it's going to be below middle C. And middle C is your gauge when you're working on a piece of music, working on a score. So all your lower instruments go below middle C, but they can go up. One thing I love about the viola is very versatile. It can go well into the bass clef, and it can go up into the treble clef somewhat. I know there's a lot of viola jokes out there. They say the longest viola joke is Berlioz's Harold in Italy. In fact, I might listen to that this morning. It's one of my favorite pieces, actually. All right, so the way I'm doing this is 2 quarter notes in this measure. I changed this. It was originally the piece, or this movement rather, started out in 3/4 time. I haven't figured out a key yet. I think I'm going to stick it, or pardon me, stick it. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and stick it. Here we go. I'm going to stick with C major, because with C major I can add whatever sharps or flats I need to this piece. So the bassoon is going to play G, and then it's going to play B, I believe it is, yeah, B natural. And put a slur over top of that. And I'm using what they call contrary motion, which means you have two instruments going in the opposite direction. They say not to do parallel fifths, which means you've got two voices that are running in the same direction movement-wise by 5 steps. So violin down here is going to do E flat. And thank you for supporting the series and watching this today, because this is therapy for me. This is letting me know, subconsciously letting me know that I'm not alone here, that I'm actually working on something that one day I might actually get performed, which is the reason that we write a piece of music, to actually hear it, hear how it all plays out. And that's a cool part about music. This is the hardest part, I think, is working on the score. But I love doing this. I really do. And I love doing this out by hand. So B flat. Now I kind of made a mistake here in this, not really a mistake, but because I'm working in C major, I wanted to, I gotta fix this note real quick. Let me find my eraser, wherever that went. That's the other thing too, looking for an eraser or a ruler as you're fumbling around trying to work on a piece of music, trying to fix this note so it's not too fat, doesn't look out of place. So violin's going to play E flat in this measure. So we're going for that C, E flat, G chord, or C minor 1 chord here. The next note here for the violin will be D, creating some contrary motion. This moves down 3 steps. Oh, I think I've done 3. I think I've done parallel thirds here, but it sounds cool. It sounds cool. But they're moving in different directions here, or opposite directions. So it's going to sound good. You know, I have my beef about that. Don't use parallel fifths. I say BS. If it sounds good, use it, because most people who listen to music, they don't study music theory. Some people might. But it's really about the music and making the music sound good the best you can. So this will be E flat again. But I'll just designate that as E flat by writing the note or the indicator here next to the note, of whether or not it's B flat or whether it's a flat note or sharp note. Okay, remember that's a half note. So I'm doing 2 quarter notes and a half note in this measure. And that's what we're doing. It's nice to got the birds outside. We have sparrows and robins around here. And that's going to be slurred as well. Okay. Now for the viola, its middle C is the middle line of its staff. And I love the symbol for the viola clef. In fact, I might get a tattoo of that. Show somebody that, they'll think it's a white supremacist symbol, and it's not. In fact, it's the only instrument that has its own staff marking. Unique to the viola. So any of you violists out there, let me know in the comments section below what it's like when you tell people you play the viola. Very underappreciated instrument, very important instrument for texture. And it's important when you're working on orchestration to know how to read viola clef, which will help you actually read tenor clef. But I primarily use these 3 clefs of treble, alto as they call it, or the viola clef, and bass clef. Because if you add too many clefs, then it makes it very confusing when you're writing a piece of music. Looks good. Okay, so the notes for this measure here for the viola, very simple. They're going to be C, I believe that's F, C, going down the scale here, or on the staff here. C, B, A, G. Oh, pardon me, it's G. That note's going to be G for the viola. And then I'll go back over this section here in just a moment. Let me grab my ruler. The next measure is going to be very easy because it's all whole notes. Oh, might be a little too close here. Oh well. As long as you can read it. Sometimes you make mistakes. That's just part of the process here. Okay, let's see. So now we're going to do FAC, which is a C major chord, C, D, E, F. So that's the 4 in C major, the 4 chord in C major. That's called the subdominant. Comes before the dominant or the 5. So let's go back over this again. Now remember, we're just doing this for this 2 measures here, for these 2 measures. F, A, C, F. So what note can I add on top of that? Ooh, let's do saxophone on that. That sounds cool. So we'll have the saxophone, bassoon, violin, and viola play that chord of F, A, C, F. Now with the saxophone, you transpose up. With my American flag here. I need to get a stand for it, I know. So we're going to do F here for the saxophone. The way I do it is use my hand, kind of cheat here, but it's 6 steps up. So 6 steps up from F, F, G, A, B, C, D. So when you, and I'll show you how the transposition goes here. When you're transposing for these instruments, and I always mark on top of here what note this is, you're going to see how this is playing out here. So this is what I've done so far, if you can see it. And right there, transposing F up to this note here, D. So F is this note here for the saxophone because it's going to play the low F here. E flat alto sax has 2 ranges, possibly 3, but I know the lowest note is B flat on the E flat alto sax. But that's going to be the note F, but we have to transpose it to D to make it sound right. So if the concert pitch, or let's say this key is written, or pardon me, this movement is written in the key of C. Go up 6 steps from that. That tells you what key you need to write your saxophone part in. So C, D, E, F, G, A. So it's an A major. So if a piece is in C major, then the saxophone, and the saxophone's in the score, it's got to be written in A major for the saxophone, E flat alto sax. I forget what it is for tenor sax, but for E flat alto sax, it's definitely 6 steps up. Okay, so the next note is going to be, let's do that. Let's put the bassoon at middle C, which isn't too high for the bassoon, but it'll give a nice color here, nice texture. In fact, I'll just write the chord out while I'm doing this. And then we'll have A and F for the violin and the viola. So for the viola part, that F is going to be below middle C. And it's going to be actually the first line on the bottom of the staff for the viola part. Because you're doing with viola clef or alto clef. Let me fix that note real quick. It's kind of odd. I have a habit sometimes of writing fat notes. Gotta find my pencil sharpener. And what we're going to do then is listen to this whole part here in just a moment. Like I said, mistakes and all. So there are those two measures completed for you. And that's the process of composing a piece of music. Now, if I don't lose my place here, let's find page 89, so 88. Right, here we go. 88, 89, and 90. Set these up here. If I can stay in place, we'll be in good shape. Turn my keyboard back on. Go to the string mode. Oh, harpsichord mode. I want string mode. There we go. Flex my fingers here. Try that again. Maybe if I pull back from the keyboard here. Ooh, ooh. I told you this is in real time, so it is what it is. Boy, my left hand is not flexing today. And that happens when you're working on a piece of music. It's because I'm trying to do E flat, A, natural C for that bottom chord. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. So that's what I wanted to walk you through today, just those two measures. I think I'll just leave the video there for now so you have an idea of what it's like to work on a piece of music, what composers go through, and know it's not based on white supremacy. So thanks for being with me. I don't want to bore you or spend too much time doing this, but if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. You can also find me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, or find my thread on Twitter, Culture Confederacy Twitter. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out, stay safe everybody, God bless this great country, and I'll catch you next time.